Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Revival of America podcast. This is Jenny. I'm the owner and the host of the Revival of America. Today we have Troy Lett on Today Everything XRP. So please, everybody, if you have a question for Troy, feel free to raise your hand, and I will unmute your mic at some point in this podcast, and you can ask your question to Troy. Otherwise, if you can't speak, there's a picture of, well, a logo of XRP on the wall. And you can write your question underneath the comment section over there, and I will read those as well. Also, to everybody, please be careful who you listen to, who you follow, and what you're putting into your mind. It's crazy out there, and these people are just exposing themselves more and more left and right. As is Trump. I think he's kind of putting some people in the limelight here, everybody. So pay attention to Trump and what he's doing, because I'm seeing him call out Pam Bondi quite a bit. And then I think he did it the other day to Tillis. Is it Tillis? Yeah, I think it's Tillis. So please, everybody, just, if you're really one of those people that reach out to me and say, I just don't know who to follow, I'm so confused, I don't trust anybody, anything anybody says, I get it. It can be mind twisting. So if anything, first and foremost, everybody, follow God, get right with him. And then, of course, Donald Trump, because he really is putting everything out there without directly telling you. So, but he is telling us, guys. So it's good stuff. We have more wins than are having losses. So stay out of the noise, guys. I can't implore you enough to stay out of the noise, because there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of distractions. They want us not to focus on the wins. They have us so far distracted over here with what happened in Minneapolis with the ICE agent and that Renee Good chick, that we've totally forgot about the fraud, in Somalia, and what's really happening, what with the takedown of Maduro, and now what we're seeing with Greenland and what's going on in Mexico. They want us focused on all the noise, so we forget about what's really going on. Look here when we should be looking there. So please, everybody, just be careful who you listen to and who you follow. And of course, what you put in your mind, guys, because that's your most powerful tool in your body is your mind, and it can be mind twisting for sure. Also, to everybody, we are being listened to in over 100 countries, so we are making a lot of great noise, a lot of great new things coming with the podcast this year. So I'm really excited to start bringing those things to you. Hopefully here sooner than later. A lot of it has to do with some has to do with the trafficking of the children, the trucking industry, and how everything just kind of ties together. More people coming on to the podcast, new guests. So super exciting about that. So watch for that, everybody. A lot of work in the background, collaborating with people, talking about things and how we're going to present it, and so on and so forth. The video part of the podcast, I know I keep saying it, but guys, I'm just so slammed just with my day gig, and then here, the video thing for me is not really a big deal. I know some people would love to see me get on the video with my guests and stuff, and I get it. But just bear with me, guys. I am a one-man show right now, but I am going to be doing some other things regarding producers and things like that. So hang tight, everybody. The podcast is growing pretty substantially, and keeping up with that along with my day business is getting a little bit more challenging on a daily basis. But I'm still here fighting the fight, and I'm going to continue. So don't worry about that. But I want to bring more great things to you with the podcast, because I do have the media company behind it, as well as the Kids Cast, the Little Voices Kids Cast. So that could also tie into something when we do something regarding the children and the trafficking, that we could be seeing some more, maybe some kids, not necessarily that, who knows, just a lot of talk in the background, guys. So stay tuned for all that stuff. But that the Little Voices Kids Cast could be coming back. We launched it, but we didn't really do a whole ton with it, just because I was kind of starting out the whole Revival of America podcast. But I do think that this is going to come to quite the fruition here very soon. So watch for that, everybody. So also too, if you come in late to the podcast, you can follow the podcast on the podcast host or the social medias, which are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Social medias are Jenny Dreed Facebook, at Jenny_Dreed X, at JDreed Rumble, at JDreed True Social, at JDreed Instagram, The Revival of America right here on Telegram, The Revival of America on YouTube, and then the social, oh, that was my social media, sorry guys. And then check out the website, everybody, therevivalofamerica.com. My merch store is over there. Fields page is over there for the books. If you're looking for Fields books, reach out to me. We can get you some books. They are definitely very great and very good information over there, guys. He is a national treasure, as are his books. Check those out. We have a page for John Baxter, Rick Anson from Brain IQ Health, Carrie Kasem, with her face for all natural face stuff, skincare. So check that out, guys. And if you guys have a message for me, or just want to get in contact or learn or figure out how you can get the books of Field, or go see John Baxter with Anti-Aging MedBed, reach out to me at therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com. I'm centralizing all my messages there because everybody's DMing me, whether it be on Instagram, all my social medias, or even, on the podcast host. And I'm just trying to keep it in one area because it's just too challenging for me to go back and forth to all these different areas where people are DMing me. So please, if you want me to respond to you in a quicker manner, message me, therevivalofamerica@yahoo.com, and we'll get you in touch with John or Fields books or whatever it is. I'll answer your question, whatever it may be. So please do that. And then last but certainly not least, if you have a story or a journey that you would like to have heard and told on the podcast, please email those to me at troasubmissions at yahoo.com. I will vet them because unfortunately I've had some people send me some lame stories that are not legit, because we do have those shysters out there that just want to get on a podcast, right? So they're making a bullshit story. Excuse my language, but I think that just goes to show you, the shysters are everywhere, right? So we got to be careful with those kinds of people. So please send them to troasubmissions@yahoo.com. I will vet them, and if I believe it's a legitimate story, I will reach back out to you. Give me a little bit, because again, like I said, I do have a day gig that takes precedence over the podcast. And I will get back to you as soon as I can. So with that, everybody, Troy is in the house. Feel free again to raise your hand. Have your questions for Troy. A lot of stuff is going on in the XRP world, as is in the gold and silver world. If you look at the post on the wall, silver, I think, is over $91. I think it's $91.57. This is huge. So anyway, I think Troy said he's got a little bit, an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. So please be mindful of your questions. If you have a question, please ask, and then we'll move on to the next question. So with that, I'd like to welcome my good friend Troy. How are you, my friend? It's been too long. How have you been?
I've been doing good, Jenny. Sorry, I haven't been on the channels too much, but you hit the nail on the head. There is a lot going on out there today.
Well,
How have you been, Jenny?
I've been great. Never any complaints here. Just really busy. And I think, as you heard, the podcast is growing pretty significantly. And so I'm really glad you're here. And don't feel bad. Listen, I took the whole holidays off from doing this just because sometimes you got to step away, right, and enjoy your family and friends. But I'm glad you're here. And I really hope that now that we're out with the old and with the new year type dealio, I can get you on here a little bit more often, because I think as we continue to push forward with this, we're going to see a lot of movement within the XRP world and the financial world in general.
Oh, I think so. I think we're just at the beginning of it here. I think we found our silver bullet um, in Q. Silver on the periodic table comes up as AG. A is 1 and G is 17. There's our Q. Silver is going to have a major play in this. On I think it's the Julian calendar. Today is New Year's Eve. Yesterday was New Year's Day. Yesterday was New Year's. And on Back to the Future, they had Marty drive a DeLorean, which is silver, 88 miles an hour, to go back to the future. Last night, for the first time in history, or yesterday morning and last night, silver hit 88, 2 times yesterday.
Wow, seriously?
I've got a
Wow.
picture of it. I caught it twice yesterday, hitting 88. So if you look at the board there, I posted 2 pictures on there. One of them is of the bear carving out a stone. We didn't know what it was at the time. And then if you look at the other picture with the bear on the moon, it has the carving there, and it's 589. 589, it pops up everywhere. It's actually the very first spaceship that landed on the moon had 589 in its numbers. You see it pop up quite a bit anymore. It's the Carmex rule. When silver goes up so much in a certain period of time, they shut the market down. Silver is the silver bullets that's going to kill the banks. They've shorted it for years. There's not enough above ground silver that they can get out of their short positions. It's crazy. That's why we're seeing the Fed print money like it's going out of style. A couple of weeks ago, they printed 34 billion. And then shortly after that, I think it was a day after that, they printed another 17 billion. And the rumors on Twitter are that Bank of America was going to go broke if the Fed didn't do this. So we're seeing the banks struggling right now. Mr. Poole, the Riddler, that's all about XRP, he has stated in many of his posts that the banks are not safe. We seen yesterday where the not the Iraq, but the Iranian dollar went to zero. So we're just at the beginning of this, and this silver is going to take out many, many banks here in the near future. They just can't cover their shorts, and they're way over leveraged on it. And what they're trying to do right now with the CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, they're changing the margin rate on long positions. And what that does is it forced people to sell. This is how they broke the Hunt brothers back in the day. Let's just say you had $100,000. Let's just say you had $100,000 2 months ago and you wanted to invest in silver. What most people would do, or an investment firm, they would take that $100,000 and they would buy futures contracts with them. And at that time, futures contracts were about $32,000. And what that meant, you could buy a contract for $32,000 and you'd have control over 15,000 ounces of silver. So you could buy 3 contracts and you would have control over 15,000 ounces of silver. Last week, they had 2 margin calls where they raised the margin from 32 to, I think, 35, and then it went to 37 or 38. Just last night, they changed that Carmex rule again. Now it's 9% of your total contract. So if you have leveraged on 15,000 ounces of silver, that roughly comes to about a little over $500,000. I think it's right at $500,000. Or no, it's 1.2 million. But your margin calls are there. So most of the people can't come up with that money to cover their margin calls. So what they do is they sell their contracts, and that drives the price of silver down. Well, they did that last night. It dropped $2, and then it recovered really quick. It wasn't 10 or 15 minutes, and the price started raising up again. So that old tool that you see in the picture where the king has the tool is broken. The 589 rule is going to come into effect pretty soon, I believe. You're going to see silver shoot through the roof. Bo Pony said that once silver went through 88, and it did last night, it is going to go like a madman, up to about $140. So
Yes, he did.
When that happens, these banks are insolvent, and there's no bailing them out. There's no way to bail them out. And that's where XRP comes into play, and Ripple. Ripple has bought, in the last 2 years, about $3 billion worth of companies. They bought G Treasury, Rail Finance, Hidden Road, Medico, Standard Custody, and they're all financial devices. They're setting up for these institutions to come into play. Right now, tomorrow, they're gonna mark up the Clarity Act. We at Ripple, I say we, I'm not part of Ripple in any way. Ripple and XRP does not need the Clarity Act. We already have clarity. What the Clarity Act does is it clears up the institutes that want to play in this game. So it's pretty important that we get this Clarity Act. There's a few things in it that I don't like stable coins. You can't earn interest on your stable coin for just letting it sit. You have to stake it or loan it or something like that. to earn a passive income on. But I think we're very close to the end game with Ripple. We've seen David Schwartz, the CTO of Ripple. He stepped down at the beginning of the year. Said he was going to go do other things. Well, he's on the board of Ripple, and he's also on the board of Evernorth. Which Evernorth is run by, oh gosh, dang, his name slipped my mind here. Sorry about that. But they're a treasury company, and their goal is to get to 1 billion XRP, or $1 billion worth of XRP, and they're pretty close. We recently seen these ETFs go live, and they're just sucking the XRP off the market. I believe here in the very near future, you will not be able to buy XRP because there won't be any for sale with these ETFs and the institutions that are coming in. I think we're going to see a huge price spike in XRP here fairly shortly when they start using it, publicly using it. I think they're using it right now in a private ledger, but I think that all comes public here pretty quick. Do we have any questions yet?
Do you think, oh gosh, I had one for you. Well, more like a comment. So for XRP, do you think that there's going to come a time here soon that we're going to see that it's not going to be available to people? I know you just said that it may not, it won't be available at some point, but do you think that at some point it's coming sooner than later?
I do. I think it's, I don't think it's years. I think it's months with these ETFs sucking the available supply off the exchanges. Another thing financially, Ripple received a national charter bank license. It's a kind of a test deal, but they did receive it. And it's, they also yesterday came out and stated that they got their financial banking license in the UK or Europe. That's huge. So they're setting this up. I think Ripple will actually become our treasury at some point in time. With the Clarity Act coming into effect, it states that Ripple and other companies cannot own more than 20% of the XRP. That puts it in a kind of a centralized station. So what I think happens is they're going to eventually, through their NDAs, get rid of that escrow account. And I think the government is a big holder, or is going to be a big holder of XRP. They got something called a gratis vendor. And a gratis vendor can give the government, if they give the government something, they can accept it. It doesn't have to go through Congress or everything else. They can just accept it. If they charge you $1, say they charge you $1 for each XRP, then it has to go through all the hoops and everything that Congress and a whole bunch of stuff. But if Ripple were to just hand over the escrow account to the government, Donald Trump could accept it. So that's another huge deal right there. I believe at some point we're going to wake up in the morning and they're going to revalue gold, and they're going to revalue silver, and they're going to revalue XRP at very high prices, because silver is a strategic metal. They have to have it. You can't make a missile, you can't make an airplane, you can't make a cell phone without it. Gold, on the other hand, is kind of a store of value. It just sits there. But the government has a ton of gold. They got a lot of gold. And currently it's valued at like $43 on their books. Well, gold today is what, 4,600 bucks? If they revalue that, the treasury would have a lot of money. So we'll just have to sit and kind of wait till this all plays out. But I think we're right here at the end with the silver going like it is. It's just crazy. It's going to devastate our financial system, our banks. And then we're going to need something to replace our banks. And I believe that's going to be Ripple and XRP.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Troy. Okay, and this will be my last question. So everybody, if you guys have a question for Troy, we're opening up for you guys to have your questions for Troy. Many of you have asked when he's coming back on. He's here. So, and as you heard, I'm going to try to get him on a little bit more frequently as we move into this new year. But don't be afraid. There's never a dumb question. But Troy, my last question to you is, so we talk about these smart contracts often, and then the peer-to-peer transactions from me to you regarding, real estate or whatever it may be, right? In your opinion, because remember, buddy, we're not financial advisors. We're just giving you our opinions, telling you, well, more Troy, what he knows about this world, because this is his wheelhouse. This is why I bring him on, his research and what he sees within his research. So we're not giving you that financial advice. Just know that, because we are not financial advisors. But what do you foresee in the future? Do you see that happening soon? The peer-to-peer, these smart contracts. Do you see that we will be getting rid of that middleman here in the very near future? I do, but what's your opinion?
Yeah, yes, I do. What's happening right now as we speak? They're already tokenizing assets on the XRP ledger. The stock market will soon be tokenized. Everything of value will be tokenized. Your house, your car, anything of value will have a tokenized value to it. And what smart contracts, you kind of do a smart contract every time you go to the grocery store. You go in and you buy a Snickers bar. There's no contract there, but the Snickers bar is $1.25, and you pay the $1.25 for the Snickers bar. That's the smart contract view of it. Now, getting into bigger purchases like a home. A home will be tokenized with its value, with its title work. Everything about that home will be on that token. And you'll receive that token and you'll own that piece of property as a sovereign individual. So if you want to sell that home, and you say you want to finance that home, you write up a smart contract stating all the details of the contract, and you tokenize it. You put it on the XRP ledger. Well, somebody comes to you and buys your house, and that payment is $1,000 a month, and that payment is paid to you. There's something called an oracle, and really all it is a fact checker. So it can see that transaction happen, and it tallies it up. And as soon as you pay for that house, after 30 years or 15 years or whatever you got the payment set up on, that token will automatically convert from you to the person that bought the house. It kind of wipes out a whole bunch of title work, real estate agents. If you have the cash to purchase that house, you can walk up and buy that house in 3 seconds. Tokenizing assets is incredible. It opens up a whole new financial world, and it opens up a safe environment. It can't be cheated. The stock market won't have any naked short selling anymore because there won't be any more tokens out there to buy. You can't make them up. Eric Trump came out and stated, and this actually happened in Dubai. Dubai was going to build a high-rise building. Instead of going to the bank and doing all the banking and everything that goes along with banking to get a loan for X amount of dollars, millions of dollars to build this place, what they did is they tokenized it. And they put it on the XRP ledger, and within, I think it was like 20 minutes, the building had sold out. So now they got the cash to build it. They didn't have to go through any banks. Now they're building it. And Eric Trump stated the same thing. He said, if I went to Dubai and I wanted to build a Trump Tower in Dubai, instead of going through all the hoops that the bank puts you through to get the money to build it, he said, I'd just tokenize it, put it on the XRP ledger. I don't think he called it XRP ledger, but he put it on a ledger. And it would sell out in a day. I'd have my money. I could start building it right now. I wouldn't have to wait 6 months and go through all the hoops of the banking system. Take a Picasso painting. They can tokenize that Picasso painting, and now you can buy $10 worth of a Picasso painting. You can own a little piece of that Picasso painting. And that goes for everything. Apartment buildings. Say you want to invest in an apartment building. It's almost impossible to do that today, unless you know somebody you can get in with. They tokenize an apartment complex. You own a piece of it. You'll get dividends off of that apartment complex. But what it really, really does is it takes the criminality out of everything. They make up shares. They make up stocks. They call them naked short selling. That's gone. You can't do that anymore. I believe gold will also be tokenized. Silver would be tokenized. And I think the only way Bitcoin stays afloat is if they tokenize it and run it on the XRP ledger. Chris Larson, the CEO or co-founder of Ripple, has stated that, and he did it online, showed how to do it. It's possible. So right now, Bitcoin is cumbersome. It takes a long time. It's got high fees. I think they will eventually tokenize it and run it on the XRP ledger. We got any questions?
Thank you, Troy. Yes, we've got some questions here. We've got some hands that are raised, and then we got 4 questions here in the background. So let's see. Tapestry Weaver, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay. I am so sorry. I didn't know that happened, but I am enjoying everything. I'm taking it in. Thank you for everything you're doing.
Thank you. Okay, Ron Evans, go ahead. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Ron. Your mic is unmuted. Hit the blue button in the middle of your screen. All right, guys. If you guys request a mic, please be mindful of Troy's time because he is on a not a time constraint, but a time limit. So I'll go for you one more time, Ron. Your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. If not, I'm moving on. All right, Terry Awakening. I'm going to unmute your mic. Go ahead. Go ahead, Terry.
Hey, good morning, Jenny and Troy. Appreciate you guys' time.
Hello.
Hey, Troy. So we know Supreme Court kind of didn't make a ruling on the tariffs, and then there's a possible government shutdown the end of January. Do you see them kind of not voting on the Clarity Act this month, possibly? I mean, what do you think that looks like, in your opinion?
Well, I think there's a big struggle with the Clarity Act right now. The banks, they hate it. So, our paid politicians by the bankers, they're going to do everything they can in favor of the banks, which I just said earlier that they got their way with the stable coin. They didn't want, say you have an Uphold account or you have another account and your RLUSD is sitting idle. They can't pay interest on that through the Clarity Act. So they don't want a stampede of their deposits running from the bank where they're paying you nothing in interest to an outfit that pays you 5% interest on it. They're making the difference between paying you nothing and what the interest rate truly is. So they're making a float on that, and they don't want that gone. So that being said, I can see the Clarity Act struggling right now. I think it'll eventually get passed. I think somebody came out today and said they had the votes to pass it. We'll have to just wait and see. But I think there's might be a little struggle with that Clarity Act because the banks hate it. Hopefully that answered your question.
Yep. Thank you, Troy. I think they want to pass it too, but and I guess we just have to wait and see. I mean, I'm just open to the possibility this could be drug out a little bit longer, possibly. But thank you for your time, Troy. Appreciate it.
You bet. And this morning they came out and stated that I think 4 Democrats were going to vote for the Clarity Act. So if that happens, we might be able to get it passed. I hope it passes. Like I said before, XRP has already been regulated. It already went through a court case, almost a 5-year court case, and it came out on top. Was deemed not a security. Now, Ripple did get a fine of $120 million, which was peanuts to them. In the beginning, Ripple had sold, and I believe probably to Amazon and Walmart and maybe Elon Musk in a contract. So in that contract, that would be defined as a security because you're actually relying on Ripple to increase the price of that contract. The XRP inside of that contract was not a security, and it's not today. But that's why they got fined for early sales to individuals. We all buy off an exchange. We don't rely on Ripple to increase the price. We don't rely on the exchange to increase the price. It's a commodity. So that's been settled. Like I said, we don't need the Clarity Act. Just big institutions like to have that regulation. So I think that's what we're gearing up for here.
One more thing, real quick, Troy. You were saying that we won't be able to buy XRP in the near future because all the institutions are going to buy it up, and it ties into a buyback program, possibly. But do you think if there isn't a buyback, if there is a buyback, the only way you can avoid that is possibly having like institutional custody, where like in a trust or something, where does that make sense? Like,
Yes, it does. Um, I don't think that's going to happen. My personal opinion on that is not going to happen, but it could. They did it with silver back in the day, silver and gold, or actually gold back in the day. They confiscated it. Now, Jimmy Valley and a group of XRP holders got together, about 4 or 5 years ago. What happened back when they confiscated the gold, there was no real outline of what gold was worth. It was like $25. And just as soon as the government got what they thought all the gold was, they revalued it at $35. So Jimmy Valley put a team together and they went through different scenarios on if this happened, XRP would be worth this much. If this happened, XRP would be worth this much. So there's a kind of a graph there showing that the government couldn't come in and say, oh, we're going to give you $2.17 for it, what it is today. You can go to that graph and say, no, this is all happening, and this is the price. Their price was between $35,000 and $500,000 per XRP. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but Arthur Brito, one of the co-founders of Ripple, has stated that XRP is designed to work at a minimum of $10,000. That's the minimum. So, they price XRP and market cap, and they say the market can't get up high enough to go over $10,000. Well, that's BS. What they don't account for is the escrow account. There's 100 billion XRP that was created. They don't take into account the lost XRP, the wallets that have been lost. They don't take into account me. I'm not selling. You're not selling. So, that escrow account has about 40 billion XRP in it. They're calculating that all wrong, how they're calculating the market cap. And I don't think XRP is going to be valued in market cap anyway. I think it's going to be valued in utility, the use case. If something is in market cap, usually you can only trade it once a day. If even once a day, it might be once every year. XRP can travel. One XRP can go many times a day. It can be bought and sold many times. It moves in 3 seconds. So there was a company out there that wanted to move. It was a hedge fund that wanted to move $50 million. And I think XRP at that time was about 50 cents. So it took them 100 million XRP to move it overseas. It took 3 seconds and it cost them 30 cents. That's the wave of the future right there. Moving value fast. And those 100 million XRP that moved, each one of them burnt just a little bit. So if all these institutions started using this and it was really cheap, they'd burn it up really fast. So it has to be a higher price. And I believe we'll see $10,000 within our lifetime at least, probably a lot sooner than that. More questions?
Thank you, Terry. All right, Sun C, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Tori, and thank you, Jenny, for your show. I have 2 questions. I hear that XRP, you can put it in a trust, and also how that work, and also another coin that I am interested have in a coin that right now is not even penny. So how is those coins work in the future? Thank you.
Well, your first question, you can put it in a trust. You put it in a cold wallet and you start a trust. You probably have to have an LLC and you gift that wallet. And I'm not a financial advisor, so you just have to get an attorney. A lot of people that do these trusts and LLCs, they do them in Wyoming. So if you want to find a Wyoming attorney that's well-versed in cryptocurrencies, he can set that up for you. You have to be pretty careful when you set up an LLC because you want to go by all the guidelines. You have to have company meetings, notes. If you don't do that, it's the LLC is worthless. So when you talk to this attorney, make dang sure you're doing all the stuff he's telling you to do throughout the course of the year. Because if you end up in court and they're coming after your LLC and you don't have your notes and everything available, they'll just say no, this was set up and we can pierce the corporate veil. Now, your second question, I didn't quite understand. Can you ask it again?
The coin name is Shabi Uinu. I think it belongs to Japanese coin. That little dog, a dog is on it like that's coin symbol. It's a mean coin.
Okay, I don't really get into the memes. I know a lot of people that made a lot of money on them. I kind of stay in the ISO coins that are regulated, but my number one and only coin right now is XRP because that's the one I've done the most research on it, and I think like I said, in the very near future, I don't think the retail buyer will be able to buy XRP. Once that happens, then I will diversify out into other coins. But until that happens, I'm going to stay with my XRP because that's the one I've researched the most. I think it's the king on the rocket or on the Bearable Guy 123. The king is there. He's on the outside of the ship. He's got a broken tool. He's got a paper or a laundry clip over his nose. So he's saying that my tools are broken and this stinks to high heaven. So like I said, I'm not a financial advisor, but if it were me, what I'm doing is I'm investing in XRP. Jake Claver, he's got a big following, and he's basically stated too that his coin, and he's got a hell of a lot more money than I do. He only owns one coin, and that's XRP.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Sensi. All right, Troy, here, we're going to read some questions for you here on the backside. All right. So since we were talking about real quickly the Clarity Act, I think you did explain to the audience what the Clarity Act was in the beginning, correct?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So since we're talking about it, Chipper has a question. It says, Troy, thank you so much for all your knowledge. It's really appreciated. Do you believe the XRP will jump up a lot in price right after the Clarity Act?
I follow the Riddlers too, and a couple of the Riddlers said XRP jumps before Clarity, not the Clarity Act, before regulations. So that could happen right before the Clarity Act goes into effect. Like I said, we don't really need the Clarity Act right now. we have clarity with our lawsuit, our 5-year lawsuit. So the Clarity Act kind of clears up the road for institutions to jump in. But I think they see the writing on the wall right now. BlackRock just this week came out and stated that they are using RLUSD as collateral. That's huge.
Thank you, Troy. Okay, here's one from D-Mom. Question. First, thank you, Troy and Jenny, for taking your time to educate us all of us and all you do. Troy, I'm very new to crypto. I started about 3 months ago and I don't have a ton of money invested, but I do have a good bit. Rather than try to figure out the wallets, I have a little bit on Coinbase, a little bit on Uphold, and a little on Kraken. I figure if I lost one, I had the other two. Now that I'm adding a little more here and there, am I better off in just using one? If I do move my crypto to a wallet, do I need a different wallet for each exchange or token? Thank you.
Well, I've stated this many times. I have what's called an LEPAL Titan. And the only reason I bought it is I didn't like what Coinbase was doing at the time. And I moved all my tokens from my Coinbase onto my LEPAL Titan. Uphold, on the other hand, has done everything that they ever said they would do for me. So everything that I've ever bought on Uphold is still on Uphold. Now, some people don't like that. They don't like to keep their coins on exchanges, and I understand that. To your second question, yes, if you buy a cold wallet, say you bought a LEPAL Titan, or I've been doing some research into Tangem, and I think that's a great wallet too. You can move all of those coins from Uphold, Kraken, Coinbase into that account, and that's a digital wallet. And what makes a digital wallet is you have to be able to send and receive crypto. So you can send your tokens from Coinbase to Uphold, Uphold to Coinbase, or Kraken to Coinbase, or Kraken to Uphold, or Kraken to your Tangem wallet, or your LEPAL, or your Ledger. Yeah, you can move them around anywhere you want.
Thank you, Troy. All right, here's another one for you. Where did it go? Sorry.
And just real quick, Jenny, you don't have to have a separate wallet for. Part of her question was, did she need a separate wallet for each one of
Yeah.
those exchanges? Is no. You can move them all into your Tangent wallet or your EliPal or whatever you deem.
Thank you, Troy. Thanks for that clarification. Okay, here's one from Matt. Troy, I was wondering about staking XRP. I know you said to hold off. My question is, if I stake XRP and the value is 100 per token, and I stake at that price, if it climbs, say 200 per coin, and I decide to end my staking, will the XRP I take out then be worth 200, or will it have been turned into cash and those coins are gone, or will it be worth 200 each?
No, I think that value stays with the XRP. If it goes up $1, you're going to get that value. The reason I say staking right now, I think there's a lot of scams in staking right now. I will probably enter the staking once the institutions start jumping in. Once the institutions start jumping in, that'll tell me it's safe to jump in, because they have attorneys and lawyers and all kinds of stuff that can do their own research. I don't have that ability right now. Most of the influencers that I listen to, actually all the influencers I listen to right now, are not staking. They're doing the same thing I'm doing. Like Brad Keim states on Digital Perspectives, he stacks his dollars, or he stacks his pennies against the institutional dollars. What the institutions are doing, that's what he's doing. So I'm just going to sit around and wait. I don't necessarily need a passive income. It'd be nice, but I don't want to risk something that I've accumulated over the last 8 years. I've learned a lot of patience in this. And that's what the Bearable Guy 123, most of his cartoon deals has perseverance on there. And what they're teaching you is patience. Be patient. I've seen XRP as low as 17 cents, and it's $2.17 today. I've seen it go to 365. Should I have sold there? Maybe. But I always have in the back of my mind that someday I'm not going to be able to buy this. Is it worth selling it now and taking that chance that I can never get back in? In my books, it's not. When I have money, I invest it. When I have a little extra money, I invest it in XRP. That's what I'm doing right now. And at whatever cost it is. I bought it, at 265. I bought it at 17 cents, dollar cost averaging. I don't think I'm ever going to lose any money on this XRP. I believe it's going to go up, up and away.
Thank you, Troy. Okay, I have a couple questions here from, it looks like Sandy and Greg. They say that they hold their XRP on Robinhood. Do you feel that it is safe there?
I'm not a huge fan of Robinhood, but I do have some on Robinhood as well. So would I say it's safe? Yeah, I think it's probably safe. I haven't moved mine off our Robinhood, and I have the ability to do that. I could have sent it to Uphold, or I could have sent it to my EliPal. But I'm just going to see what it does there and kind of diversify a little bit. I've got about 3 places that I keep my XRP, just to kind of like the gal stated. She's got 3 exchanges. If one of them goes down, she's still got 2 exchanges that are good. So that's kind of the mindset I have right now. If Robinhood was to go down, would I be sad? Yes, I would very much be sad. But if something happened to my EliPal, or I have that on Robinhood. So yeah, I think it's safe there.
Thank you, Troy. All right, Miss Cal, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cal.
Can you hear me? Can
Now
you
we
hear
can. Now we can
Oh,
hear
I'm,
you.
so- I'm sorry, my phone's back there. This may be a really foolish question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. I have my XRP on Uphold. If I should die, and you say about you could put it in a trust on an LLC, but what happens to my XRP if I die and I want my kids to have it? One of my children has my password, how to get into my account. do they have to be able, can they break it up if they all have an Uphold account and break it up between them and put it in their accounts? Or do they have to have a wallet to be able to do that?
Nope, they can break it up and put it in their individual accounts on Uphold. Or they can, if they got a hot wallet or a cold wallet, they can separate it up that way as well. As long as they can get into your account on your Uphold account, they can move it.
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you so much.
You bet. And for those of you that are on Uphold or Coinbase, or I have a note that I've told my kids where this note is. They don't know my passwords or anything on here. Well, that note has it all in there. So if something were to happen to me, they can get on that note and they can enter all of my accounts.
Yeah, that's because you have 1,000 of them. I'm just kidding,
Well,
Troy.
you know, most people don't realize that on Uphold, when you purchase Uphold, you can start a brand new account. I think I have 77 accounts. So when you go on to Uphold and you hit, it's not source, but it's what you want to buy, it'll drop down and you'll hit XRP, and then it'll have like one account there. Well, if you scroll down to the bottom of that, it'll say add additional account. So if you're saving for your granddaughter's wedding or graduation or birthday party, or you can start an account for that. And just when you hit XRP on there, go down to that account and hit that account, and it'll put it right into that account when you're buying. So a lot of people don't realize you can start several different accounts on there.
77. Look at that number. That's awesome. Thank you for that, Troy. Thank you, Cal. All right, here's one from CC Wallace. If there is a true bank failure with no access to using a credit card, how do we pay for the Uphold vault? Thank you, Troy.
Well, you can pay for the Uphold vault with your RLUSD or your XRP or whatever you have on Uphold. You can pay for it with that. You don't have to have, if the banks fail, your account at Uphold will still be open, and you can put them in the vault that way.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. Okay, just have another one. Let me see. Okay, here's one from Daniel Fisher. And everybody here on the front side, if you guys want to ask Troy a question, please feel free to raise your hand. Troy, what are you thinking on time-wise?
I got a
I
little more
know,
time yet.
I know you said an hour or so I don't know what that so is. Is it like 15 minutes extra or what? So just let me know. All right,
Okay.
from Daniel Fisher, it says I wrote a book that is on Amazon called Would God Really Talk to Me? That does not make me an expert, but I do speak to the Lord of the Lords about these things. God showed me about a year ago when I asked about XRP investing. He showed me throwing money down into a dark, bottomless hole in the ground. For me, I know what I know, and I can't put any investment into it. What are your thoughts on that?
You know, that's fine. Everybody has their own opinion. I talk to God just about every day. And ironically, when I pray, I have $2 in my hand. And what's silver doing today? It's going through the roof. So yeah, I mean, it's each to their own. I'm not gonna step on his beliefs. I have mine. He has his. That's fine. Just don't invest in it then.
Amen. All right. Easy breezy. Thank you. Thank you for that, Troy. All right. Here's one from Cat58. Question. I use Exodus not on desktop for my XRP. Is Exodus a good wallet?
You know, most of these wallets out there, I think, are good. It's the people using them that are most of the hacks come from. There was a guy that had an ELIPAL, which I have. It does not hook to the internet, so it's very safe. It's almost unhackable. He got into one of those free giveaway deals where the scammers got his seed words and they stole $3 million worth of XRP from him. So I think most of the wallets are safe. It's just, I can't state this enough. When you get an email or a text, and it might be Uphold, it might be Brad Garlinghouse, it might be David Schwartz, take that with a grain of salt. And they're trying to give you something for exchange of your passwords. Oh my God, it's a huge scam. So when you want to deal with Uphold, go to the app. Everything that they're going to send you in an email, Everything they're going to send you on a text is going to be in that app. So you know when you go to that app, you're dealing with Uphold. You're not dealing with some third party that's created a logo that looks like Uphold. Go to your apps. If you have a notification on there, they'll send it right there to you. So be very careful out there, guys, because there's a ton of scammers out there.
Yes, there are. Yes, they are, and they're getting more creative with their scams, everybody. So I say it all the time. Please be careful. So real quickly, Troy, until we get some more questions or hands, I did post from Melissa Redpill, Freedom Force. You talked about the Iranian dollar hitting zero. It is on the wall. It says zero. Okay, so can you maybe touch a little bit on that for the audience? It's basically letting you know that it's the end of the regime, right? So can you maybe touch a little bit more on this and how this can potentially affect us over here in the States?
Well, I think what they're showing you there, Jenny, is paper money is going to go to zero. All the money in your pocket, there's no value to it. It's not backed by anything. The Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell is under investigation for his building over there that cost $4 billion over budget. So I think they're showing you you're dealing with monopoly money. Here's something I heard today that was kind of interesting. The picture that I posted on the wall there of the bear sitting in the chair.
Yeah.
If you look at the vessel that he's in, it's all silver. And one of the cases is cracked open, and it's just a little bit of gold shining out of it. We've got the 589 Carmex rule there. I really think this cracks the banks wide open. This silver squeeze is going to happen, and it makes your paper money probably worthless. Once the Fed goes down, I think there's a parallel running, and it's the new quantum financial system, for lack of a better term. And I think that has to do with XRP and the ISO coins. I've often said when you want to wake people up, how do you do it? You hit them in the pocketbook. That wakes people up overnight. You wake up in the morning and your cash is zero, you're in a scramble. What the hell are you going to do? You're going to wake up to a brand new system, and you're going to learn that new system, and it's going to be very easy to use, and it's going to take all the corruption out of this, about 99% of the corruption out of the world. Like I said, the stock market right now is a joke. It has a ton of naked short sales. It's heavily manipulated. Tokenizing the stock market will take all that out of it. You'll see true value when that happens.
Thank you, Troy. And since we touched briefly, just can you maybe on the Jerome Powell situation, can you touch on that a little bit, since you just kind of briefly mentioned it, what we're seeing with that? I mean, we know he's about to go down. So what are your opinions on this, and what do you see moving forward?
I seen Jerome Powell getting kicked to the curb because Obama put him back into power with the auto pen. We've also heard about the auto pen. I think that building was just a huge slush fund. You don't have $4 billion buildings. Hell, I think the Dallas Cowboy football stadium was $1 billion, and this little building has got $4 billion wrapped up in it. That's just nuts. And I think this is the end of Jerome Powell, and I think it's going to be the end of the Federal Reserve. Janet Perino right now is doing an investigation on Jerome Powell. She called him like 3 or 4 times, and he never returned a phone call. She's on Twitter right now stating that there's a definite investigation going into Jerome Powell and his $4 billion building.
Yeah, he's scared. He's scared shitless, guys. If you haven't noticed, watch him. He came out and did a statement. He's trying to get ahead of this, but I think he's shivering in his boots. So thank you for that, Troy. All right, El Capitan, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Got a question for you and what Troy's thoughts are on the glint card. It's kind of a way you have to buy gold, but then you can transfer it into silver or whatever you want, but it's kind of just another way to store your wealth that's not in the bank. And if he has any knowledge on that.
I have a little bit of knowledge, and I think it's a good card. It's actually backed by gold, so you're spending money, but it's backed by something. It's backed by your gold. So I think it's a great idea. I don't have one, but I've heard about it. There again, that might be our brand new financial system. You've got a Glint card, and the dollars that you have in that are backed by gold. I think eventually gold will be tokenized and run on the XRP ledger. All of the valuable assets, real world assets, will be valued and tokenized and put on the XRP ledger. So yeah, I love the Glint card. I don't have one, but I've heard about it, and I think it's a great idea.
We ended up picking it up, and you're right. You purchase gold originally, but you can transfer that into other metals. Like I see silver moving at a higher rate than gold, so it might be a better investment to keep it in there. But yeah, I only have a couple thousand in there, but I think it's a good way to diversify and a better way to store my wealth than sitting in the bank, right?
I agree 100%. Mr. Poole has told us that cash is trash for a long time, and now we're seeing it. It's not the silver that's really going. I mean, the silver is going up, but it's valued in dollars. The silver has never changed. You bought a piece of silver 50 years ago, it's the same piece of silver you got today. So silver is really not changing. What's changing is your dollar value. You go to the grocery store. Hell, 10, 15 years ago, my inflation hedge was hamburger. A roll of hamburger was selling for 98 cents then. It's about $7 now. That's inflation. That's your dollar changing. The hamburger ain't changing. The silver ain't changing. It's your dollar. Your parents bought a house for $20,000 or $30,000. Now that same house is $500,000. The house didn't change. You might have added on to it or changed the kitchen or stuff, but it didn't go up in value $500,000. It's your dollar that's changing, and people can't see that.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, El Capitan. All right, Greg, your mic is unmuted. Go ahead.
Hey, I appreciate what you guys are bringing to the table for us. Appreciate that a lot. You've raised a couple of questions. One, if you were just sitting on some cash for emergencies, based on a comment you made about cash a minute ago, what would you do with that? And what about owning XRP and these ETFs that are coming out? I've got a fair amount of that in those on Schwab.
Well, that's a good question. If I had money sitting around, the first thing I would do is buy XRP with it. I like the fact of XRPs or not ETFs. There's a couple different things I like about ETFs. You don't have to worry about hard wallets, cold wallets, storage, any of that kind of stuff. They take a fee for that. The thing I don't like about ETFs, we're seeing right now with silver. Do they actually have the silver? Did they actually go out when you purchased your ETF in silver? Did they actually go out and buy the silver and they're storing it? Probably not. And what happens is they do have a bunch of silver there, and they rehypothecate it. They sell it to other people. So if you look at the U.S. debt clock right now, and you go down to silver, you can see that each ounce of silver has like 365 paper contracts on that one piece of silver. So that means they've sold that one piece of silver 365 times. Who actually owns it? That's the question.
Yeah.
You're seeing that right now with the Carmex. What they've done is they did the same thing. They were rehypothecating gold. You would buy 1,000 ounces of silver, they'd put it in the vault, and they'd sell it to somebody else. Sell it to somebody else. Sell it to somebody else. Well, who actually owns it now? Who knows? That's what's happening right now is they're running out of silver because everybody, instead of owning paper silver, they want delivery of it. Before you'd buy a contract and you'd say, okay, 3 months, and then you just renew the contract for another 3 months. That's not happening now. They want delivery, and they don't have it. That's why you're seeing the margin calls come out, because they have to have silver to get to delivery. I think it was the U.S. Mint came out yesterday and said they're not going to mint any more coins because the price of silver is so fluctuating right now. They can't put a price on their coins. That's telling you something. They don't have the silver to mint them with. Silver is going to be a big deal here in the near future. It's going to take out the banks.
Well, kind of a funny question, but so what about my cows that I own out on the land?
Your cows right now are at a record high, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, that's where I feel safe, is what I know, and having something that I know ultimately has value. But back to the ETFs, I was referring mostly to the XRP ETFs, and so you said they have some value, but probably they won't go up in proportion to owning it on Robinhood or something.
Well, my question is are they actually buying the XRP?
Oh, that's why you went into the silver. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Are
okay.
they rehypothecating the XRP and selling it 3 or 4 times? I don't know. I don't have the ability to tell whether they're actually buying it or not.
Yeah, okay.
So, you said it best here just a minute ago. Stick to what you know. Do your own research. If you want to get into XRP, know what you're buying. Don't take my word for it. Don't take Jenny's word for it. Get on YouTube and start researching it, what it does, what you can do with it. That's the best advice I can give right now is do your own research on these deals. This gentleman knows cows. You've probably never lost a dime on a cow, have you? Other than if it died.
Well, when COVID hit, I had to pay 3 times as much for my hay, and I couldn't get the calves to harvest. But that's the only time, is when that was a manufactured loss. Yeah. Well, and thank you. We ought to do this every week. This is so valuable, and even those of us who don't have time to do our own research, when we listen intently to people that have, we can sense what's right. That's the only way some of us can do this. And so having you on with Jenny is my number one listen. We've really missed you recently. So thank you so much for what you two do.
Well, that really means a lot to me. Some of these influencers out there that you listen to, they're getting paid. You go on YouTube, they're getting a paycheck for that. I have never made a dime on this. Jenny's never paid me a dime. In the beginning, I helped people set up wallets. I don't know how many wallets, thousands of wallets that I've helped set up. I could have given a code to those people, and when they set up their new wallet, they would punch that code in, and I would get like $20 worth of XRP or Bitcoin or whatever their rewards were. I never did that. I wanted my word to be my word, not because I was making a paycheck off of it. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people out there making money on this movement, and you got to be very careful with those people. I think Q told us, watch out for the patriots. They're getting paid. So be careful with your research. And like I said, I've never made a dime on this. I think my ultimate payment is when God finally unleashes the key to this XRP. That's when I get paid.
Well, in our prayers for you, you are now going to be included in my prayers, along with some other people that are having challenges. So, and Jenny, by the way, I really appreciate you pointing to us. 1, trust in God, and 2, then look to Donald Trump. That touches me every time you say that. I hope you'll never lose that focus.
Oh, of course not. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate you. Thank you for your kind words. Yes, because, everybody, at the end of the day, this is God's war, right? And we know God wins. So, and I have, felt so peaceful through this movement, whereas many haven't, so confused or scared or whatever. But I just really see more and more now daily what my purpose in life, where I'm supposed to be right here, right now, because through my young life, I've had several careers. Majority of it's obviously it's been in marketing and sales, loan officer, real estate agent, all that stuff. But this, I see things more clearly now. And I just, there's a lot of unfortunate things that have happened through this journey. But at the end of the day, the light is very bright. I see it, and I'm happy for what the future is to bring, and just the continual lie that we have lived, and the enormity of this lie, and how it entails everybody, right? It entangles everybody from the highest of the high to the lowest of the low. It's pretty, you just see things differently. And I appreciate all of you guys and my guests, such as Troy, coming on, because without you guys, the Revival of America wouldn't be. And so I appreciate you, Greg. Thank you for being here. And I appreciate you saying that about Troy, too, because there you have it, Troy. You're being requested more often. So we'll definitely try to get Troy on more often. I know he has a day gig too that pays his bills, as do I. My day gig is priority to the podcast, but it is very important too that I continue with the podcast in this fight to help many of you get through this. And then when we get through this, guys, our work is just starting. We've got a lot of work to do on the other side of this. So we're going to be around, Troy and I. We're not going anywhere, but yes, Troy, you're being requested and on a live to come on here more often. Thank you, Greg.
I will do it, Jenny. I will do it, Jenny. And I appreciate the compliment. I truly believe that God led me to this. I was kind of on a journey. I started out thinking I wanted to do Bitcoin, and I was brand new, just like a lot of you are on here. So I thought to myself, do your research, do your own research. Don't take anybody's advice. Go on there on the YouTube, and I typed in Bitcoin pros and cons. I learned pretty quick that Bitcoin wasn't for me. It didn't work. It wasn't scalable, uses a ton of electricity. So I started looking for I wanted to invest in cryptocurrency. So I started looking for a different token. And at that time, I started listening to the Grateful Dead. I wasn't a Deadhead, but I caught a song called Ripple. And I listened to it, and in about the middle of the song, there's a fountain there. And in that, right before they show the fountain picture, I believe, it's during this, it says it wasn't created by the hands of men. And at the bottom of that fountain, it's a logo of Ripple. So, I've asked for God's guidance on this numerous times.
Oh, big hugs, Troy. Love you.
May I make one more comment? Brief. Oh,
yeah, go ahead.
If I've ever heard a message from God in my life, this is one, and I've heard it for years. I practiced as an accountant for years, and so I did people's finances. But Greg, I can make you more money in an hour than you can make in a lifetime on your own. Just pay attention to me. So when you said the crypto may be that for you, that flashed in my mind, because that could be fulfillment. And I've witnessed how that happens. And so thank you for listening to the leadings of God's Spirit to come to this, because as we share together, we sense that truth. And so thank you.
Yes, thank you. And if you look at this community as a whole, most of them believe in Jesus Christ. When you start doing your own research, you're going to find this out real quick.
Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Greg. All right, anybody? Troy, I don't see any more questions here on the wall, and I don't see any more hands raised. So anybody else want to come up and ask Troy a question before we end? Otherwise, we will cut it here, and we'll get Troy on more often. Oh, there's a question. All right, Joe P., your mic is unmuted. Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead. Go ahead, Joe. Your mic is unmuted.
Okay, thank you. Troy, and this question may have been asked. I got on here on the tail end of this podcast, but the XRP prediction that Jake Claver put out there as far as the domino theory and XRP rising, to 3 digits by the end of 2025, which he's caught a lot of flack since it has not. What's your opinion on that theory, with the necessity of oil to spike in Japan triggering the treasury bonds to be called in and interest rates to rise in there, which would essentially be the catalyst for the significant uptick in price appreciation for XRP. Do you feel like he's on to something there? And he does give credit to I think it's Jim Rickers as far as that domino theory kind of playing out. But I'm just curious to know if you had any thoughts on that, or if you've heard that theory.
I have, and I think he's 100% correct. The only mistake he made is he put a date on it. He put a date on it of the end of January 2025. We haven't seen those dominoes fall yet. We're starting to see it in Japan with the interest rates hiking, and what that's going to cause is what's called the reverse carry trade. For years, the Japanese bonds, JP, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Well Hung Grandpa, but he said after JP dies, you have 4 days to buy XRP. 4 days. We're starting to see it in the Japanese bonds, JB. The Riddlers, Mr. Poole says the banks aren't safe, and he's also got a band on stage in costumes. It's a real popular band in Japan. So he's telling you, it's Japan. Sorry, I had a hiccup there. But the dominoes that Jake is talking about, you can see them start to play out in Japan. We've got this huge crisis in the Middle East right now with Iran. They could shut off the Straits of Hormuz and you would see oil spike. I think that's coming here in the next few days. I don't think Donald Trump is going to sit on his hands and watch those protesters over there get killed. So we'll just have to see. I think Jake's spot on with his domino effect. But like I said, I think he put a date on it. And if you look at the calendars, today's really the first day of 2026. It's New Year's Day.
Right. Yeah. Another suggestion or theory that was put out there as far as the straight cutting off oil is essentially if Lloyd's of London or the bigger insurance underwriters stop issuing insurance policies for any ships going through that direction too, which will for the most part not inhibit but definitely question whether or not those larger ships actually want to travel the strait to get there and port off their oil. So I thought it was definitely it makes sense to me. It's just a matter of timing when you connect all of those dots, and I'm just curious about your thoughts. So I appreciate that.
You bet. And I think Jake's spot on with this. Like I said, he just put a date on it, which was a mistake, I believe. We can't ever predict dates. The good Lord told us no one knows the time or the day. We know it's getting close and it's going to happen, I think, pretty soon.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Troy. And Troy, I don't have any more questions for you. So, and there's no hands. So you want to come back here? What do you think? What works for you? 2 weeks? I mean, it's been a while, but I get it, the holidays and everything. But we're back at it. So let's talk in the background and try to see what we can do about getting you on a little bit more if that works for your schedule.
Yeah, I could do every couple of weeks. That's no problem.
Okay. All right. So we'll make that happen. And Troy, it's always great to hear you, my friend. God bless you. Stay strong out there, everybody. Come back and hang out with us for Rick Anson with Brain IQ All Natural Health. New ways of healing, everybody. The alternative. We're here. So get on board with it, guys, because we are a very small percentage that knows about the new ways of healing, all natural healing, like John Baxter, whether it be frequencies, technologies, those types of things. And then, with Brain IQ, I mean, it's just stuff literally from our backyard. So that will be at 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And Troy, we'll talk to you in I'll talk to you in the background, but we'll get you back on here in 2 weeks. And with that, everybody, God bless you. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks, Troy.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you listening. We'll talk to you soon.
God bless. Have a great day.